Hello, welcome back. Today I'm sharing 4 of our go-to realistic, easy lunches that we make during a typical homeschool week. Homeschooling mornings can be full, and by lunchtime I don't want to be cooking anything elaborate, so these meals are quick, simple, and easy to throw together. I hope you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to like and subscribe if you want more homemaking and homeschool content. Let's jump in. To get started, I made some quick loaves of bread this morning. I love this recipe because it's fresh milled, but sometimes I don't have time to think about sourdough. So it's fresh milled, but it uses yeast instead of sourdough, and I make it with kamut grain. I've also made it with hard red wheat, which it usually gets a better rise with that grain, but I prefer the flavor of kamut better, and it's an ancient grain, so I like that too. Obviously, you could just buy a loaf of bread. I just made it a goal of mine to not buy any bread this year, unless we're on vacation or something like that. Having recipes that I can make quick when I don't have time to do some elaborate process is really nice. Today we're actually having a play date, and we're having it during lunchtime. So our friends are bringing lunch, and I'm just going to go ahead and prep our lunch ahead of time so I don't have to worry about it then. For us, I'm just making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and then I'm also hard boiling some eggs for extra protein. It feels silly to share peanut butter and jelly sandwiches with you guys because it's just such an obvious go-to for majority of families, but I wanted this video to be as realistic as possible. I get our peanut butter and our jam from Costco. I love their peanut butter. And the jam I've talked about before, it's sweetened with dates and it has chia seeds in it. So there's also extra fiber and protein with that. It's interesting now that we're a little deeper into homeschool, because for the longest time, if we were doing play dates with a family, around 9:30 was the sweet spot to meet up. But now that I'm deeper in homeschool and my friends are deeper in homeschool, it's almost easier to do it over nap time because I don't want to give up too many homeschool mornings. I've learned, though, that one morning out a week is almost too much. I mean, I'm fine with it, but doing more than one is really tough. So we do have one standing play date on Wednesdays. We'll go to that, and then once we get home, we'll start homeschool. So it's starting homeschool around lunchtime, which is not ideal. And doing that more than one day a week is just really rough. So I was excited about a nap time play date, especially if it's my house too. I can still just put my baby down for a nap, and then the kids can hang out. Also, if you just saw the butterbell I was using, that is my new favorite obsession. If you haven't heard of one, basically you just keep the butter inside the top part, and then you fill the other side up with water, and then you put the butter part into the water part, and it keeps the butter from going bad. So I just leave that on my counter now, and I always have room temperature butter ready to go to spread on any piece of bread. I shared about it on Instagram. I've been wanting a butterbell for a while, and I wanted to thrift one because I've seen so many people thrift them, but I couldn't find one. So I finally just bought one off Amazon. I'll link below the one that I have. Also, if you're not following me on Instagram, I would love it if you join me over there. It's a fun place to kind of interact with you guys. And I made a reel trying to set up my brother-in-law, and it's gone totally viral. It's over 500,000 views, and that has been wild. I am getting hundreds of messages a day, hundreds of comments of all of these really sweet women wanting to marry my brother-in-law. And if it were up to me, if I could pick his wife, I mean, there's just so many good options. It'd be so easy. But unfortunately, it's not up to me. So that's a bummer. Also, we do have an egg maker. I know you can use an Instant Pot or you could just boil them, but with how many hard-boiled eggs my family consumes, it's just so convenient and it just makes sense for us. My husband some days can eat up to a dozen hard-boiled eggs just by himself. I'll make sure to link below the one that we have. Now I'm starting to prep some pizza crust for lunches later in the week. I love this recipe because it's super adaptable. It's so simple to throw together. I'll have the recipe in the description box below, but basically you just add flour, salt, olive oil, starter, and you just mix it together. Today, Sloan, she was doing a spelling words and she had to tell me which words had like 2 syllables. So I was like, for example, like wake, and it was like today, and then she was like, oh, like wilder nice.
Wilder nice.
Once I mix the recipe together, I will just leave it on the counter overnight, and in the morning divide it into containers, and that's it. Like, I don't do any kneading or anything. It really is that simple. I'll usually like quadruple it. I didn't have enough starter to do that today, so I just made 2 pizza crusts with it. It's really easy to multiply. Also, I've tried it with different flours. Obviously, all-purpose will probably get you the closest to a pizza you're used to. But I like to do half and half, so I'll do half all-purpose, half kamut. I've done entirely kamut. The crust isn't as good, but it still tastes delicious. So you can just mess around with it. I've done like 3/4 kamut, 1/4 all-purpose, 100% kamut, 100% all-purpose, and it always turns out good.
I hope you understand.
I like to store the pizza crust in these deli containers. I'll link those below too. They're nice because before I was using plastic bags and I just hated the waste. So these are reusable. I just pour a little bit of olive oil in the bottom and then kind of swirl it around the sides and then just plop the dough in and throw them in the fridge.
My hands up next to you and the finger still turn. Yay! And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free.
I just pulled those crusts out that I made yesterday, and I'm just shaping those into pizza crust. I'm doing this on a square parchment paper just because it makes it a lot easier to transfer the pizza crust to the oven and get them out. I'll show you how I do that later. I don't have a fancy pizza peel or anything. Also, don't feel any shame if you just want to use a rolling pin to spread out your pizza dough. We all don't have to throw up the pizza dough in the air and shape it in fancy ways. Just do whatever works. It tastes the same. I like to do this with just straight tomato sauce and mozzarella because that keeps it simple and that keeps it to where it's always readily accessible to me as long as I have pizza crust made. My goal is really just to have things made as easy as possible for lunch. So if it also requires me to like make some special pizza sauce, then that's just another level of friction in the way of me making it. One of the twins' chores is to help me unload the dishwasher, so we're getting to that. It's funny how children will fight over the most random things. So one of their things with unloading the dishwasher is they all fight over who gets to unload the most utensils. Now I'm going to put the pizza in the oven. I get a large sheet pan and I flip it upside down and I pull the parchment paper onto the sheet pan. And then once I put it in the oven, I just kind of shimmy it off onto the pizza stone that's already preheated in the oven. And that's that. You don't need to buy any special equipment or anything like that. If you have a sheet pan, then you're good. My twins have gotten a lot better at swimming, and they have requested goggles like their sister Flo. So we just got those in the mail, and they were so excited. They wore them around the house the rest of the day. And then we ended up going to the pool this day, so they were really excited to try them out. Now I'm pulling the pizza out of the oven, so again, I use a sheet pan and flip it upside down, pull it out with the parchment paper, carefully not to burn my fingers, onto the sheet pan, and then just slide it onto the counter. This may be one of the easiest lunches we have. As long as we have pizza dough ready, it feels like I make it in 10 minutes. Maybe that's not real, but it just feels so quick. And especially when using fresh milled flour, it just makes it feel so much healthier than it would be otherwise. And pizza's just delicious in general. You know, sometimes kids can go up and down with whether they love something one day and hate it the next. I feel like pizza's very consistent. Kids always love pizza. For toppings, we usually keep it pretty basic with just tomato sauce, cheese. Sometimes we'll switch it up and do a lot of meat, or we've done ham and pineapple. I personally love pineapple pizza. Sorry. We've also done fig and prosciutto with arugula on top. That's probably my favorite. My husband eats a lot of protein, and he frequently asks me if I could just cook a pound of ground beef and put it on top. Which that's just a lot of ground beef on top of a pizza, but I'll do it. Today for this lunch, I am making a charcuterie board for the children. Charcuterie boards are my favorite food. We make them for my birthday, I make them for our anniversary. Basically, anytime I have some type of girls' night with friends, I bring a charcuterie board. It's just the best. If I'm doing one for adults, I always make sure to have 3 cheeses, 3 meats. I usually have a huge cluster of grapes in the middle and whole grain mustard, fig jam, and then just other things to fill in the gaps. So like different types of nuts, olives. That's my general rule. If I have dried mango, I'll add that too. Oh, and then of course like some type of cracker. For my children, first I look at my fridge and just see what protein we have. So usually it's ham. Today I did have some salami, so I did that too. And then I also added any types of cheeses we had. So we had a sharp cheddar and then we had a mild cheddar. I also added grapes, apples, strawberries. I used the almond flour crackers from Simple Mills, and I added some dried mango too. This lunch is obviously just so easy because it's just thrown together, but it's one that we all love. I also just like to put the board in the middle of them all on the table so I don't have to worry about any dishes. So it really is a super simple lunch.
Here you go.
Yay, strawberry! Strawberry!
Draper, sit down. Oh, put your feet down, baby. No, food, baby. Saddles, saddles. Your name kind of rhymes with noodles. Saddles.
For the last recipe, we are making chicken salad. Now this might not be the quickest recipe to make. It still is pretty quick. It's nice to have on hand. So if there's a busy day, if we have chicken salad in the fridge, I can just pull it out of the fridge, throw it on a piece of bread, give it to the kids, and that's what makes it quick. So with a lot of these things, it just requires some prep work ahead of time to make your days smoother. I also use the Instant Pot to cook the chicken. So that's another thing that makes it quicker is I'll start that in the morning at breakfast. So I'll just put it in the Instant Pot in the morning at breakfast. And then once we're done with homeschool, I'll just throw it in the mixer, shred it, add all the toppings. And it really is kind of quick to make.
I did it. I did it.
That is funny.
I'm grabbing all of the ingredients so my daughter can get started on chopping them. She loves to help in the kitchen, and I have this little kid's knife for her that she'll use. It's definitely not perfect, but that's not what it's about anyways. And then while she's doing that, I'm shredding the chicken in my KitchenAid mixer. I've shared this before, but this is the best way to shred chicken. It's so easy. And then I'm going to get started on making some mayonnaise. To make mayonnaise, I usually add 1 egg, some red wine vinegar, lemon juice, salt, some mustard. I'll add a recipe below if you want an exact recipe. I usually just eyeball it, as you just saw. And then I'll grab the avocado oil and my immersion blender. I'll blend up what's inside the jar, and then as I'm blending, slowly pour in the avocado oil and bring my immersion blender up as I'm pouring it. This made probably about a cup of mayonnaise. I honestly could have used more and I should have doubled it, but it was fine. It was good. I like to have this stocked in the fridge so then I don't have to make it on the fly, but it's really not a big deal. It's so easy to make. I also still have another loaf of bread from the 3 loaves that I made a couple days earlier in the week, and I'll serve the chicken salad on that. And then I always taste the food that I make to make sure it tastes good, and then I'll adjust the seasonings, add more salt, more pepper. To this, I'm also adding more mustard and lemon juice directly to the chicken salad.
Yum! Yummity yum yum.
For the mix-ins that my daughter is chopping, my favorite ingredient for chicken salad, I mean, maybe it's not my favorite, but I feel like it needs it, is celery, which is so random, but I'm really sad if we don't have celery for chicken salad. Then I'll add apples, grapes, some type of nut, so usually pecans, and that's my go-to recipe. Also, if you ever happen to bake chicken and overbake it way too much, turn it into chicken salad. That's what I've done in the past when I've overbaked chicken for my husband, and he loves chicken salad. So I think he's happy when I overbake the chicken. Well, that was our week of lunches for a busy week of homeschooling. These are definitely our go-tos because I don't love to spend a ton of time on lunch. If you enjoy this kind of content, please like and subscribe. Also, you should let me know down in the comments what type of videos you'd like to see from me. I'll see you in the next one.